Hi, welcome back to the Spirit's Path. This is Dee, and today's tarot card of the day out of the Wildwood Tarot deck is the Six of Vessels in Reunion. And normally when this card comes up, it tells me that somebody is about to pop back into your life, right? But not today. Today this card told me that you need to really rely on your intuition. And the reason why I say that is because it's following the seer. Right, the seer's got all the wisdom and the knowledge in that that healing aspect, but she knows everything that's going on. And the other thing that really popped into my head was the two otters that are down there, and the otter, being the Page of Vessels, asks, where do you need to trust yourself more? All right, so. As we're talking about finances and we're resting and the seers come up on you, the archers dropped off. Okay, so we're still keeping our eyes on the prize. We're still being carried by the horse, okay, with the Knight of Stones, and the Knight of Bows is still down here. So, both of those guys are asking, where do we need to push forward, as well as what is the opportunity that we're seizing. Okay. We've got two cards of healing down here with the Seven of Stones and the Four of Arrows and Rest. Plus, the Seer's giving us some healing, and some regenerative spirits as well. And then the Two of Vessels is down here, attracting things. So, we've been talking about asset allocation. I don't even want to say finances, but it's been all about asset allocation. And maybe you've done well in the last week. And that reunion that you're now having, okay, is a feeling, all right, of I'm getting back on my feet. You know what? I've cut out the DoorDash. I've cut out the Starbucks. I've cut out the burger joint. All right, and I'm saving $50 a week, let's say, okay, and that's probably minimum, right? And you see that extra 50 in your bank book, and you're like thinking, okay, good, if I do this right, at the end of the month I'll have $200, right? 200 times 12, that's $2,400 I've saved, and my bank account's starting to go up. And with that, you start feeling good, right? Your success of moving things slowly, step by step by step, has got your confidence going pretty good. You're starting to feel empowered, right? And with that, it gives you that feeling, just that there's something about it that it's just, man, I just can't put my finger on it, but I just feel better. Because you're working towards something, okay, that is where you've been in the past, right? You've had that success in the past. So, as you're thinking about the Six of Cups, you're reuniting with that feeling. You're reuniting with your intuition back then that says, this is how we got to where we're at. And this is where we need to go to keep going. And, even though the water's flowing out of that hill, it's providing life. And just that, that $50 a week is providing life into your pocketbook. Okay? Because on top of that hill, those trees aren't getting enough water. That water's flowing, right? It's not, the trees are not drawing into that well, okay? Just as those outside, I call them snafus, but, outside interests are trying to, the DoorDash, the burger joint, the Starbucks, the this, the that. They're all trying to sap into that energy, okay, of, life. And you're like, no, you know what? I'm moving forward. I know I can continue doing this. And once I get to a place where I'm stable, secure, and, I'm manifesting what I want, then I might think of an extra coffee. Then I might think of an extra DoorDash. But you know what? I'm staying disciplined. I'm staying, persevering on my path as I'm going forward. I'm keeping the eyes on the prize, right? Because I know there's that cyclical death, and that's the card that just came off too, the Journey, right? So as I've walked out of the world tree, I see that cyclical death, right? I'm keeping my eyes on the prize because this is what I want most in life right now. But I know it's going to be slow and steady based on the Knight of Stones and the Knight of Bows. You know, I know I've got some slow energy here with the Four of Arrows and the rest. The Seven of Stones, healing. I'm healing myself as well as my pocketbook. I'm healing my thought processes, okay? Staying dedicated, attracting new things in my life, right? Attracting opportunity to where I can seize it so I can push forward. And that opportunity is how you're thinking about your finances. You've taken that mental weekend off and the rest. And now the seer is you know, she's got all of the elements there with her. You know, she's got the stone as the basin that holds the water. All right? You can't have one without the other. You know, she's got the air energy as well with the feathers. She's got the passion going on there, you know, with the staff. You know, and she's got the world tree behind her, giving her the guidance, okay? And like I said yesterday, that maze that you're walking, you may not even see how big it is, but for her, it's small. The world tree is bigger than that maze that you're in right now. And at the same time, as you're walking around, you can drink out of these cups of water. You can be revitalized, okay? With that thought process said, wow, even if you only saved $1, right? I just saved $1 this week. Let me see if I can save $2 next week. Okay? Looking for those deals, right? And not splurging on, you know, stuff that doesn't need to be splurged on. I mean, if you really think about it, how hard is it to make the coffee at home out of the tap water? Because it's all it is water and coffee grounds. Or going to Starbucks and getting that latte, matcha, whatever. Okay? Chances are it's just milk and water. You can buy a gallon of milk for under $3 in some places, and here you're paying $8 for a specialty drink. I'm just saying, common sense and knowledge, right, go hand in hand. That wisdom helps you move forward as you're moving on. So drink out of this little pool here, right? Look at those otters and ask them, you know, just say, hey, what's going on in life? And they're going to tell you, you know what? You need to trust yourself a little bit more. You know, where is that deeper trust that you have? And you're looking at it saying, I'm seizing the opportunity every day. I'm going to go home and make lunch. And I'm going to let the horse carry me. So that's today's card of the day out of the Wildwood Tarot deck. The Six of Vessels in Mourning, or Reunion, sorry. Seven of Vessels is next. But yeah, Six of Vessels in Reunion. Reuniting with that intuition that you have to, you know, from before, of being successful, of accomplishing a goal, right? Of knowing what that feeling is. So hit that like button for me, subscribe to the channel, share it with others, and give me a thumbs up. And this is D for Spirit's Path. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Take care, God bless, and stay safe, everybody.